Morning, everyone. My name is Tim Selden. I'm the president of the Montessori Foundation, and this is our weekly webcast on school admissions, marketing, and building community. Find the perfect match. With me is my colleague and co-host, Clint Lausch. Clint is the
Well,
founder of Ames, which is a independent school marketing uh, company. He has a couple of different programs for schools, which is how I met him. He's got Ames itself. He's got Montessori Growth Suite, which is a partner with Montessori Compass, software that we think very highly of. Um, and he also has a program with the Montessori Foundation called the Montessori Enrollment Growth Accelerator, if I've got that right, Clint.
that's right.
Okay. And we have a lot more. We have the Montessori Family Alliance, which is a program where families can get access to not only what they've had for years, our library of 30 some years of books and magazines and videos, but now they've got Abigail, my trained Montessori assistant, who can answer all their questions, show them the Montessori curriculum, keep a journal of their child's development, do more things you could ever imagine. And as Sylvia Ayrton said, this is freaking amazing. Um, so if you haven't checked out Montessori Family Alliance, Clint, if you would paste into the chat once or twice during the session the link so that folks who haven't seen it can take a look. We really encourage you to do so. And if you feel like you don't have the money to spend on them, which is, I think, dollar a month of family or $12 a year, you could become an affiliate and convince them to subscribe through you, and we'll give you a chunk of the money that comes in. And frankly, it costs them much more than when they come in through you. So, for example, a family pays us $8 a month to belong, and we have lots of members that do that. And we're happy to share with you at least 10% of that if you want to be an affiliate. But frankly, our recommendation is take it out of your budget. It's advertising. And if you keep one family 1 year longer, um, and especially, I mean, one of the things that's different starting this June is we're going to be working with all of our schools to orient families. We're going to be feeding stuff out to them by email and text, assuming they want it. I mean, they don't have to, but we're not going to be trying to push buying products or anything like that. The idea is to support your school and help them prepare their kids for school, to think about how to have a great summer, how not to have screen time, meals to cook with their kids, all kinds of gardening, nature, you name it. And we'll just be feeding stuff out to you and to your teachers really every week, if not every day. So really encourage you, join in with us one way or the other if you haven't already done it. And those of you who are in Canada, it used to be it was too expensive because the magazine shipping it across the border was ridiculous. Well, now it's all digital. So the same price globally. They'll get beautiful magazines, weekly newsletters, Abigail, all kinds of stuff that you just wouldn't believe. So check it out for yourself.
I
And
will. That's good to know. Yes, the shipping and handling costs are very, very prohibitive. It's the same thing for buying products, even materials. Some of the products in the US are so good, high quality, and the cost of shipping it.
yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So the bottom line is what we're doing is moving increasingly to video, to electronic magazines. We've got our Montessori 101 is in there and the guided tour of the classroom. And Clint, I mean, there are all kinds of things in the Family Alliance. And I will make one other pitch. The reason why we call it the Family Alliance as opposed to the Tomorrow's Child Center or something like that um, is we're trying to create a movement of
Oh,
parents. And so the idea is they belong to an international club of parents where they can turn to us for questions, concerns. We show them how to work together to build stronger schools. We also calm them down when they get upset. That's part of our work. Um, so we're there to partner with you and our other schools to make happy families. Anyway, today we are talking about, by the way, what I'm going to share today is part of a new book that Clint and I are working on called Finding the Perfect Match. I've been posting chapters of it on my LinkedIn page and on the blog at Montessori.org. But today, what I'm talking about is one of the chapters, which is basically inside the mind of the family. And we've talked about this before. We've talked about how do you create your ideal parent persona. So you have this idea of who you're marketing to. Today we're going to try to stick to basic common sense psychology. What motivates people to spend this crazy money with you instead of someone else? Why aren't they at Little and Loud Child Care Center or the local Christian church or Jewish synagogue or whatever? Why are they with you? Whether it's Montessori, monastery, whatever kind of school you're running, the idea is it's all one thing. We are schools of choice. Nobody has to send their child to us. None of our schools are the same as every other school. We're all different. And so the idea is how do we find the families who will love us for who we are and what we can do really well? And we'll ask, what can I do to help you? Instead of, why should I give you money? So that's our goal. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. And before I do, anyone have any thoughts or questions you want to bring out to the group this morning? You're all welcome. This is a real conversation. Nobody? Okay. Well, anytime, just interrupt. I don't mind. All right. So let me find the correct link. I think it's PowerPoint over here. There it is. Let me get to play from the start. And here we are. So everyone can see that? I see a nodding head. Okay. So we want to think about, what motivates our parents and how can we understand what drives them. So yes, all these images are AI generated, and I think sometimes they're really good and sometimes I think they're awful, but it really is so much more helpful. By the way, one of the reasons why I use AI these days, and this may be important to you if you ever use Pixels or these other free image sites, people today, there are people who have a copyright on an image in another country, and someone will get a hold of it and they'll put it on their website, and then they get a nasty letter from a lawyer in Germany or Spain saying, you now owe us $10,000 because you used our image. So it's becoming, unless you use the stock photo libraries, which is fine, but they have a limited selection of images. It's really dangerous to use a photo that's on the internet because it's very, very easy for someone to take a picture of a photo and duplicate it. Now people can do a search and say, where else is this photo appearing? So if you want to see if that's true, just try it. Uh, Take your phone, go to Google search, use Google Lens, which is where you take a picture of something on your screen and say, search for this and see how often that picture doesn't show up. But anyway, if you've never had one of those nasty letters from a lawyer, that's something to watch out for. All right, so the problem. Um, Many Montessori schools are saying sort of the same thing. Montessori, nurturing the human potential, Montessori, and education for life, Montessori, where children love to go to school. It's all true, but it's too broad. It's not really targeting the people who are going to love your school. So you've got to watch out. And this is true whether you're a Montessori school or any other kind of school, even a public school. It is not a commodity. You are a unique institution that is created every day by real human beings working with real human being children and real human being parents. And you are just, you're unique. And so the trick is to figure out how do you tell your story in such a way that people hear it, value it, understand it, and fall in love with it. And you can't make someone love you. All you can do is be yourself, tell the truth, look for someone that really appreciates you for who you are and works with you in partnership. So, anyway, the bottom line is way too many people either don't do any marketing at all, or the only marketing they do is their website, which is a big mistake because a website is not a market, that's a brochure. So that's the once someone knows you exist, yeah, it's an important document because that's what they see. That's the first impression of what your school's like. And way too many people's brochures are ugly and bland and boring, and they all look the same. So whatever you do, try to create a really great website. And whether it's your daughter that does that for you, or your husband, or your son, or your sister, your brother, or your an agency at great expense, the bottom line is you need to invest in good websites and you need to spend money on advertising because otherwise you don't get enough money coming in to pay your bills.
Tim, if I can jump in just on the website, there was some survey data that was done over the past year about what parents like the least about school websites, like what turned them off. And the top three were lack of information, difficult to navigate, and tuition was hidden. So the third one is something I've been seeing a lot more recently, where it's like, hey, enter your information and we'll give you our tuition sheet. You actually typically want to have that if you're doing something like that, you want to have that visible on your website because that can frustrate them. And while there's the sense of, hey, that could be used to generate a quote unquote new family lead, um, it actually can be turning off more families than you're getting interested. And so when you look at your tuition page, ideally you want that tuition page, yes, to have tuition information, but also give them a reason to stick around, right? You talk about the investment. Why invest in this type of education, right? Don't have that tuition page on your website be very almost like business focused or info, just info. Here's our tuition. Here's how what it is. It's due here. Here's your deposit fees. Here's all our fees, right? It's very bland and just a bullet of information. Yes, you want that there, but make that your tuition page ends up being typically, if you look at your Google Analytics, a top three or top five most visited page. It's also one of those pages that has the highest bounce rate, meaning they visit that page and then they leave. So it's not surprising that they do that. But your job with your admission, with your website is to also try to turn it into an admissions tool to get people to stay engaged and to want to learn more. So, exactly what Tim had said when you talk about a great website, those are the three things. It should take no more than 2 clicks to get where you want to get to. Lack of information. Um, the one of the common things that I hear is like when we do websites, and one of the services we have is to do websites. Sometimes the pages, like the homepage, can be long. It can be a little lengthy, and I get asked a lot, like, why do we have this much information on our page? And I want you to always think about, no matter what page they're on, you're writing your content for three audiences in general. You're going to get some families that don't read a thing. They look at the header and maybe they decide whether to click or not. You're going to get some that scan. So your whatever page they're on, their homepage, let's say, it needs to pass the scan test. If I just scan your website, can I get to where I need to get to? Do I know what you're talking about? And then three, you're going to get some people that just they read every single word. And so you want to accommodate all three and tell that story about your school and why you're unique. And we're going to be getting into all of that. And then obviously we talked about tuition. So that's just my quick PSA on websites, because there is a lot of data out there now about what families are looking for. And it is the number one landing spot, right? Somebody comes from social media. If they come from a review site, if they drive by your school, they're going to land on your homepage. So that homepage is it's really important to nail as well as your tuition page.
Janthe, I see
Frank,
you had
I
your
have
hand
a
up.
question.
Yeah.
Um, I understand what you're saying, but sometimes I wonder if you reveal what the tuition fee is, wouldn't that turn off some people? Like,
Mhm.
oh no, I can't afford that. But when they see the quality, they'll say, oh, maybe we can sacrifice this or sacrifice that to let our child enjoy a Montessori education. So that was my understanding. To be honest with you, my website does not have the tuition. And this is why, because in fact, that's what I told my web designer too. I told him, I don't want it there. Am I wrong in thinking that way?
Yeah,
Frank?
it's there's a couple schools of thought. I mean, you could actually test the page. Now, beyond doing testing the page, um, your job, as I was kind of alluding to, is that yes, they might look at that and they might leave. They say, "Oh, this is too expensive," right, or something along those lines. That's why that page needs to be a lot more robust to talk about the value of the investment and why it's worth their investment. Do you offer financial assistance at all?
Actually, we don't. I mean, we're not
Okay.
that big a school, but um,
And that's
mm,
fine. I'm just asking if you do. I was going to say anybody on
no,
here that
no, we
does,
don't.
you want to make talk about financial assistance being available and give them that information. Um, but it can, and you may not really know this, but it can turn off a lot of people and they leave. And here's one way to test this without even listening to the what I'm saying about it is you want to look at your Google Analytics and what you can look at. And so on your tuition page, do you have a form to fill out to get your tuition?
Yes, we do, but no fee. No fee has been added to it.
Sure, sure. Yeah, there's just a form. It's like
Just the
send me some more
form,
information.
yeah.
Yeah. What you can do is you can look at your Google Analytics and look for the past, year, right? And how many people went to that page and then how many people filled out that form and look at what that conversion rate is. And there's not necessarily a standard conversion rate that we're looking for, but it will also tell you maybe how many people are visiting that page and also leaving without it. And then maybe what you want to do is change that page out for 3 months, 6 months, and start getting some more data about, okay, now they're coming to this page. Where do they go after this page? Can we put something on that page that says, hey, if you want to learn more about why families love our school, click here to schedule a tour, click here to connect with admissions, and see if you can get more people to ultimately get to your admissions page and connect with admissions. So data is going to tell the story. I will just say though, the best practices in the industry right now from a marketing and admissions perspective is to not gate the tuition because the data is saying parents that turns them off all right from the get go.
But I do really agree, Jay, that it can turn parents off. I have done, sort of the same thing as you. At Newgate, I had a deal where to get the tuition, what I did is we had a thing that said tuition. And it said basically that's where we made the case for we are an investment and we are really worth it. And people love us, but you know, we understand this is one of the most serious investments you're going to make, and it's going to be something you're going to agonize over. And click here to see the tuition. Um, but don't get sticker shock. So I mean, I think the bottom line is, however you do it, you want to make the case that acknowledges that there's a lot of stress about how the hell am I going to afford this? And at the same time, this is your precious child we're talking about. And they are really worth the investment. And we try to really earn your investment. We love kids. We love you. We love our families. We want to be your partner. However you explain it, I think what you're trying to do is minimize the churn, the number of people that look at it, get scared, and run away. And so what you're trying to do is figure out how do I both not seem coy, which is what a lot of parents get frustrated because they really need to know, can I afford this? Can I do this? So it also becomes really important to explain because so many people think not about the year's tuition. They think, what's it going to cost me a month? And of course, one of the other things is we recommend at the foundation don't charge a month's tuition for a month's service. In other words, if you're going to let people pay by the month, start way in advance, like May is the beginning of the school year that starts in September, and they make their first payment in May, and you divvy up 12 months or 10 months of or 9 months of tuition into 12 payments, which for some families makes it more affordable. And you want to get 2 or 3 months payment in advance.
In fact, that's what I'm doing currently, at least for the lower and upper elementary, but not so much for the CASA. Uh, Maybe I should extend that stick, that carrot to the CASA as well. Thank you for that, Tim.
One other thing, and we've done this before, but maybe it's pretty soon we'll do another round of, how do you set your tuition correctly? But one of the things we recommend is if you can, set your tuition across the board as the same thing. And I know this sounds counterintuitive because infants are much more expensive to handle than, let's say, elementary. And we make our money usually with the CASA, 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. On the other hand, what happens is if you charge more, let's say, for the kindergarten year or for the elementary program, what happens is you got a double incentive to leave your school. And so we really, if you can, just have one flat fee and just adjust that for inflation and always adjust every year for inflation. Even if you think, your parents might get a little antsy, if you don't, you kind of erode your purchasing power of the tuition you get. Any other thoughts or questions? What's working up there in Fort McMurray?
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the option and the suggestions to start the tuition during summer. And I wrote that down because I think that that's good.
Well,
That,
thanks. I
that,
really appreciate that, Funky. Please,
thank
again,
you.
get my regards to Terrence and to Patricia.
I will do. Thank you.
Sure. All right. So, anyone got anything else you want to chip in on? Then my first question of the day is, why do you, when parents approach you, what do you think is driving them? What are they looking for, their goals?
Our
Jeffrey?
parents tell us that they're looking for uh, a fully rounded education for their children. Sometimes they tell me straight out that, they may not be looking into elementary, but at least the foundation must be sound. That's what I get from my parents.
Mm-hmm.
There, there's always that group that just wants to know what the hours are and what does it cost.
So they're trying to solve a problem, which is I need
Which
childcare.
is real. It's
Yeah.
a real problem.
And I want reliable childcare. I don't want to show up one day and discover you're closed. You didn't even bother to tell me that there was a snow day or a holiday, or you didn't remind me, or the person that you hired to come in at 7 o'clock didn't show up. And so I get there and I got to go to work. What am I going to do with my kid?
Yep.
So all of these become part of the aspirations. What else do you think motivates people other than a company they can depend on, a partner, if you will, in helping them to make their family life sane? What else are they looking for?
I feel they're looking for a place that they can trust, where their child can be respected, and they want the child to be happy.
Happiness is a big thing. They want friends.
Mm-hmm.
They want to know their kid's not going to come home with poop in their pants.
Yeah.
They want to know that no one's going to beat them up or make them feel bad, sexually molest them. They're looking for no drama. What is the parent as an adult? What do they want?
Maybe
Convenience.
trust.
They want trust. Again, I think they want no drama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can hear the dogs barking in the background. Joyce just came back to the foundation, and they are all barking at her. Although Zoom tends to screen that out, but there's quite a bit of barking going on here. They are definitely looking for no trauma. Fazida says they're looking for community as well as many parents are first-time parents. A good point. They are looking to feel that they belong. I mean, among other things, they like to find babysitters. They're looking for play dates. They want to know that the kids that their children go to school with are people that they would be very happy coming over to their house. I mean, they're looking for connection. I mean, do you ever notice? I mean, many of you have, I suspect, children as young as 2 or younger. Do you notice that the families of these really young kids are desperate for adult connection?
Yes.
Thank you. My wife just showed up and brought me a smoothie. I love it. So he's looking for a straw. I see it right there. Here we go. Thank you. So again, I think parents are looking for a lot of different things, including satisfying their own need for connection. Those of you who came to your country as immigrants know that among other things, you want to feel like you are welcome, you are seen, people value you. They don't see you as a problem, they see you as an asset. You want to feel like if everyone else is very, very affluent, very, very educated, very successful, and you don't feel like you fit into their class, that can be an issue. So again, you're looking for for example, my mom founded the Berry School in Washington, 1932. One of the things she did right from the beginning is said, I don't care who you are. Everyone is called by their first name. Everyone is treated exactly the same. You are all part of this family. And we don't care if you're a senator. We don't care if you're an ambassador. We don't care who you are. We treat everyone the same. And considering the fact that in 1932, when Washington was segregated, white and black, she went out to the black community and said, we are looking for families from your community. If they need a hand, we will do whatever we can to help. She put a third of the income coming in. By the way, she called it the Robin Hood syndrome. We took a third of the income and gave it out as financial aid, which meant we were much more expensive and worth it. And we just made sure that everyone felt like they really belonged in our school. So that idea of community, not unique to Montessori, it's true of really so many schools, Christian schools, Jewish schools, good public schools, everyone does this. So I think increasingly in today's market, we're looking to feel a deep personal connection to every single family, and that's what creates stickiness. And anything we can do, I mean, birthday cards that are sent handwritten that go to the child in his or her name from the school for their birthday, celebrations that are deep and meaningful, wine and cheese parties or whatever you feel you can do. I mean, these days we don't dare serve liquor anymore, do we? I mean, personally, I do, but whatever. I think we all find our ways of creating connection and community, whether it's through Zoom, which doesn't work as well, but it can work, or whether it's face to face, and whether it's coffee and conversation at 8 o'clock in the morning with an early drop off and people coming and just sitting around and talking with each other and talking with you, or whether it's movie night or date night for the families. There's so many ways for us to help families to feel that we care about them. Anyone else have any other thoughts about what a family might be looking for? What are their aspirations?
I think they want to feel that they're a good parent and doing the best for their child.
That's a really important point, Carolyn. Can you elaborate on that? I happen to know that you've done this for a while and you've got a lot of thoughts. But
I think, especially if it's a first-time parent, we are now first-time great-grandparents, and we see our children's children being parents, and they want everything just to be perfect for that new little soul, and they want to feel they're doing it right, so to speak, as far as supporting the child's development and understanding ages and stages of development, and also things like getting enough sleep with a brand new baby, trying to rotate who sleeps, who wakes up, who, so that they're giving their best to that young child, and yet needing practical advice, I guess you would say, from the parent, how to keep your own balance in the process of parenting.
couldn't agree with you more, my friend. So again, I think we look for all kinds of creative ways, and some of it, like one of the schools that Clint and I work with in California, just did an event called Bubbles and Squeaks, which I know is supposed to be an English dish, but basically it was a day of bubble making and pizza, and just a silly thing for moms and dads and kids, and bubbles and just fun. I think people want fun. So whether it's pony rides or model train sets outside in the garden, school dog. I mean, the I've always had a school dog from the days when my parents had standard poodles running around the school. I used to raise Great Danes. Dharma here is one of a pair of Maltese that I have taken around my school for years, and the kids would borrow them like a library book. Again, what are they looking for? They're looking for a school that their children just adore, that they feel like it is so much a precious part of their life. So we know that they want teachers who are going to love their children. They want teachers that inspire confidence in them as parents. And they just want everything to be easy. Anyone else have anything you want to jump in on?
I'll throw in some survey data. I feel like I've got like a whole folder of this data because it helps inform how we do the marketing side, because that's obviously where my head is so pretty much every single day. Um, that there was a survey question to a few thousand parents about the top qualities that families are looking for when looking for a private school in general. So it's something to keep in mind and how you might want to communicate this. But um, there were a lot of answers. There was one that got three times the response rate in terms of the most important quality. Academic excellence was the top response for what they are looking for in a school. Now, you can take that a variety of different ways in terms of how you want to communicate that. I think what's most important is that understanding, okay, if a family's looking for academic excellence, that can mean different things to different people, to different schools. But I think it's still important that maybe you're advertising or how you're going to communicate why Montessori, why us, why this approach versus another approach, and painting a picture of future outcomes, right? I think Tim, I know you've said it. I forget what call we were on, but it was essentially along the lines of you had said, why are some of the most successful people in the world? Why do they come from Montessori? Right. So that's also kind of alluding to academic excellence and obviously future excellence, beyond school. But that is at least what parents are saying they're looking for in a school. Um, Number two is religious education. Now, if you are religiously affiliated, then you want to highlight that. If not, then fine. Number three, though, quality of teachers, right? So highlighting the experience with teachers. And then the next several are all kind of similar in terms of the response rate: values and morals, safety and security, small class sizes. So that's kind of the order of what parents are looking for: academic excellence, head over heels, then religious education and quality of teachers come in second and third and tied. And then tie for third place: values and morals, safety and security, small class sizes. So as we think about what is the messaging that we want to have on the website, what's the messaging we want to have on advertising, right? If you're sending out a newsletter, what do you want to highlight? Highlighting the quality of the teachers and the relationship with teachers is extremely important. So that's what families are looking for.
Well, thank you, Clint. I think it's great. I think again, there are so many things that we need to do. I mean, one of these Montessori schools almost always have is that a page or a download of Montessori versus traditional, which really ticks off a lot of parents because they don't understand it, they don't care. That's not what drives them. And because most of them went to traditional school and some of them have a bad memory of it. And by the way, the ones that have a bad memory are probably the ones we want. But since you're probably not going to get just that kind of parent, you don't want a parent that went to some Catholic school or other traditional private school who said, well, wait a minute, why are you insulting the kind of school I went to? That doesn't inspire confidence in me. So the idea of Montessori building better brains, or that our kids become more curious, creative, better executive function, skill development, which some parents know what the heck that is, others don't. The bottom line is what we're trying to do is find simple words in a nutshell to drive our message across in about 3 seconds, because that's about how much time we've got. Anyway, it helps to know what the parent is looking for, just as it would in anything in life. The market is all about knowing who would love you for what you really are, and how can you highlight, spotlight, draw attention to the things that you've got that are likely to appeal to the right kind of parent. Think of it as bait. Think of it as telling a story. You're not trying to change anyone. You're just trying to find the perfect match. And you're trying to do it in greater and greater volume because we need to be sure we have enough families coming in every year that our seats are all filled. Peki Tunze, you are in Tanzania. Can you talk to us for a minute about what parents in your country, your community are looking for? If you're able to unmute, we'd love to hear from you, my friend. No?
Thank you, Tim.
Hi, dear.
Yeah, yes, thank you. For here in Tanzania, I can see that parents, they look for grades. They like it more when you tell them about the grades. That is tasty. That is where they are, what they are attracted to. But if maybe they see there is no homework, there is no test, there is no grades, they see like the children are not learning at all. And this is what makes them sometimes Montessori here in Tanzania is not attracted by many people. They don't know it. And even if you tell them about how Montessori does to their children, but they still don't believe because they say, how can you educate a child while there is no test, there is no grade and everything? So in Tanzania, we still have a challenge because parents, they don't care. Most they don't care about this kind of Montessori education we are giving. They just look like you have said that they like more the Catholic schools because there they see that the children is where maybe they are healthy a lot and also those school, they perform very well. So that's why they like to take their children there. So this lesson today, I am learning a lot on how maybe I can help the parents of here Tanzania to start loving, to know about following up about the Montessori education and everything. But we still have a very challenge, a big challenge on how we convince parents, even if maybe we say we have meeting or get together and everything, they don't even show up. So we have a lot of things, a lot of work to do for them. Thank you.
Becky, I'm going to suggest that your country is not very different from most countries. The average parent is probably pretty similar. They're thinking they want real evidence that they're getting their money's worth. They're looking for reassurance that their children are going to be able to get into good schools, whether it's a good elementary school, a good high school, a good university. And we always have the challenge of how do we communicate? Part of it is you can't convince everyone, to see things your way. What you're looking for is families who kind of are leaning in your direction. And this is true whether you're a Quaker school or a Montessori school or a Steiner Waldorf school or whatever you're doing. Not everyone is going to be interested in what you're selling. So the secret is one, know what you're selling and communicate it really, really well. Number two, don't be discouraged by the families who don't trust it. I have a saying that some of you have heard me say before. We have all been dating all the wrong people, letting people in our school who break our hearts. Um, and they're good people, don't get me wrong, but they get in and they decide that we don't know what we're talking about, and they erode the confidence of the other families. The ideal Montessori family is the kind of person that thinks for themselves. They don't care what their sister's doing. They don't care what their friends say. They think for themselves and make a choice of what they think is best for their family or this child. And they're very confident in it. Secondly, they get their parenting partner on the same page. So many times we get a parent where one parent loves us and the other parent thinks we're crazy. And that doesn't work either. A house divided will not stand. So you got to get both parents involved. And then finally, we can't change people. All we can do is try to find ways of communicating our ideas. And some people will resonate with it and other people will not. For example, Pecky, if I were you, I would start saying Montessori for the uniquely gifted child in our community, or for the leaders of tomorrow, for the families that think outside of the box, the families of the 21st century, you know, tomorrow's education for tomorrow's child. By the way, that's why the magazine has that name. Um, the bottom line is not everyone's going to care about that, but that's one thing you can do. Another is because every parent tends to want examinations that give them grade point averages, percentile ranks, and so forth, you need to find tests that are more consistent with your kind of education, but still give parents what they want. Now, in the world of Montessori, that would be a formative assessment as opposed to a standardized achievement test. The difference is this: an achievement test, everyone gets the same questions and has the same directions and the same answers, excuse me, the same time, and there's only one right answer. Okay? And so all kindergartners get the exact same thing and they have exactly the same conditions. That's what standardizes it. A formative assessment is designed to be part of a way of measuring growth. And in the United States, in the English language, the two great formative assessments that I know are MAPS, Measurement of Academic Progress, uh, MAPS, from Northwest Educational Associates, or what used to be called the Stanford Performance Series. Now it's owned by a company called Thrive, but these are both untimed. They're formative tests that give you great, rich information about how a child is changing and growing. And yet it gives a family percentile ranks, Lexile scores, which are the reading scores, grade point equivalent, all the normal stuff. But you can give it to a child over and over and over again, and it's a power test. Some of you may know the Woodcock-Johnson Individual Achievement Test, which is another example of this. The bottom line is all of these tests are incredibly helpful if you're running a school where you don't want to give the typical achievement test and feel like your kids wouldn't look good, or have a week of your school year taken out where everyone is sitting there doing exams and having high stress. These achievement tests are really good. And by the way, one other thing is Clint and I have had a company that we discovered recently called Chancey and Bruce. And they are one of the few companies in the world that do uh, standardized achievement tests of children as young as three, 4, and 5. And if you don't know Chancey and Bruce, I highly, highly recommend you look at them. You could become approved as a Chancey and Bruce administrator. You can give this either to all your 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. You give it to them at the beginning of the year, the end of the year. Very, very rich, non-academic. What it's looking at is all the things. Yeah, I see you. You like this. This is good stuff. Clint, if you can put in there into the chat their website, that'd be great. Chancey and Bruce is very, very cool. Takes about 15 to 30 minutes to give a test. It's a power test. It does not measure academics. What it's measuring is how is the child developing in all the areas that we care about. And it gives incredible standardized reports that are beautiful. Parent gets knocked off their socks. They're going to love it. So I'm very impressed with it. I'm sure there are others, but I know Brigance and I know some people use Dibbles. This is very different and much, in my opinion, much more interesting. So I've become quite enamored. Hi, Patricia.
Tim, is it done one-on-one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you could either give it to that occasional child who you think is a little quirky and you want to know what's going on, because it will reveal a lot of the neurological things. For example, Maria Ava Chafin from Montessori Behavior is evaluating right now. And her reaction was, this is excellent. We don't need for the kid that we can't afford to go to spend $2,000 to get a psychologist to do a WISCAR. We get a lot of useful information that tells our teachers and the parents what's really going on. And it compares them, it shows chronological age and it shows their developmental age. And if you go to our YouTube channel, there's at least one or two sessions where we've talked with the owners of that company. It's really quite cool. And the story behind it's interesting. It's two women that used to run a private school in Los Angeles who used this exam for many, many years. The two psychologists that developed it back 40 some years ago were retiring and they were going to close the company down. They said, no, somebody's got to carry this on. And so they bought it. They learned how to do it. And they're out now trying to take it to the next generation. It's really quite cool.
Can you be certified to give the test, or do you just buy it?
Well, you get trained. You need to be trained to be able to use it, but you can be trained online. And by the way, if you're a Montessori school, they're doing a real, like a half price deal. So normally it's $75 to give this test, and they're giving Montessori schools $35.
Wow, that's generous.
The truth is, they're really nice people. I think they're not terribly wealthy. They went out and bought this company, and I think it was all California, and now they're trying to go global. And yes, Pecky, you could do this in your country too. And you got to. We're evaluating ourselves to look for things that are culturally, that a kid wouldn't know about. But it's pretty darn cool, and I highly recommend if you're interested, check it out. For those of you who do early childhood, this is a really, really interesting thing. So, anyway, we've talked a little bit about aspirations. How about their fears? What drives parents crazy? I could go back to the slideshow, but you know what's in the slideshow. Um, let's just talk to each other. Take a few more minutes and we'll go back to our work. What is their biggest fear?
Judgment.
You won't like my child. You'll think he's learning disabled.
Mm.
You'll tell me he's got ADHD or he's on the spectrum. You'll turn my kid into a transsexual or whatever their fears are. You'll convert him. You'll corrupt him. I don't know. Or you won't like me as a family. We're not we're not affluent enough. We're not educated enough. We're not classy enough. For some reason we will feel judged. Or my kid will be bullied. My kid will be hurt. My kid won't get a good education. I'll discover you were charging me all this money and conning me all this time. You didn't have certified Montessori teachers. You weren't a real Montessori school. Anything
It's
else?
always such a problem that, what is a real one anyway? You can have all the certified teachers in the world, but it's that perception of what a real one is so broad.
I work really hard. We get about 20 to 50 phone calls a day at the foundation. People seem to think that, that we're the Montessori police because we're the Montessori Foundation. And they call, they complain, and I say things like, "Is your kid unhappy?" No. Are you unhappy? Yeah. Are you unhappy enough that you got to leave? I don't know. Is it good enough? It's imperfect, right? Isn't everything in this world imperfect? For example, they tell me, well, the Montessori teacher quit. Now there's not a Montessori teacher in the classroom. I have to say, so, it does take a Montessori teacher, but everyone's on a journey. The question is, your kid happy? I mean, the best teachers in the classroom are the kids in the class who are a little bit older than your kid. So helping people to calm down and just ask the question, is it good enough? I mean, what led you to fall in love with your parenting partner? This is not perfect. We all get aggravated sometimes. Let's try to make this work. So, that's part of what we do in this world. So I see we have about 4 minutes. Clint, can you just, I've talked so much today. Can you just do a quick recap of what the Montessori Family Alliance is for people who joined late?
Yeah, and I'll put it in the chat. Let's do that first.
Clint's company helps you recruit families, and the foundation's Family Alliance helps you keep families.
Yeah, so if you go to the Family Alliance, it could be both, the parents themselves can sign up, but ultimately we build it for the schools as well to give to their parents to really help your families deepen the understanding and your partnership with your families. And on the parent side, it gives them a way to truly understand Montessori. It allows them to get to bring essentially Montessori into their home. So what they're learning in your school in the classroom and be able to apply that at home, and you get access. There's even an AI built in there that is the foundation of or comes from Tim and the foundation. And many of you, I don't know, Tim, if you want to explain who Abigail is. All right, hold on. We had a when I tried to register, but when I wanted to create a profile, it didn't open. Huh, that's well. I'll take a look at that. See what's happening.
Becky,
Why did
put your email
Yeah.
in the chat so that Clint can reach out to you directly. I mean, if not, I know who you are.
Okay. Yeah.
I
Thank
think
you.
I know who almost everyone is. I don't know Sandy Andrews. I don't recognize her, or Stephanie Servana. Love to get to know you, my friends.
But yeah. So that's what the parents get on their side, and on your side, um, you also get we're loaded in with resources to help you both recruit and re-enroll your existing families, and so giving you resources like an onboarding playbook, how to onboard your new parents, how to re-enroll parents. So there's professional development and playbooks on your side, and then on the parents side it really helps them enhance the understanding of Montessori, and you're getting all that content from the foundation, or they're getting all that content from the foundation. So we could probably spend an entire hour talking about it, and we have, but hopefully that gives a good sense of.
Stephanie, you're from Toddler on the Hill. Glad that you're here, my
Yes, I
friend.
The parent
am.
side and the school side.
Great name.
Good. I'm in the Washington D.C. area right now. She's just a few miles from me. Um, Bottom line is, especially for these young parents like you have on Toddler on the Hill, they have a journal. They can see their children's developmental milestones. They can ask questions. How can I get my kid to eat asparagus? You know, uh, you wouldn't believe what they can do with Abigail. Abigail's been trained by us at the foundation for 3 years now. She has read every Montessori book. She's read everything I've ever written. She knows exactly how the foundation answers every parent question. And unlike going to ChatGPT, where you ask a question, who knows what you're going to get, this is like calling up the foundation. And they can sit there and if they get advice they like, they can save it. They create diaries, journals. They can help them decorate their children's rooms. You name it. It's very, very cool. So go to the link that Pecky couldn't get into. Set up a free account. See if you don't fall in love with it. And if you do your school a favor. Join as a school, get it for your families. And if you feel like you can't do that, set up a referral link with us, contact us, and we'll set you up. And you can get them to do it, and they'll pay, 8 times more, but we'll give you a share of it. The bottom line is you want as many families to belong to this as possible. We're here to help you recruit more families, educate more families, keep more families. The way we tell that your school is really strong is how much pressure is there on your school to go up through elementary, middle school, and high school. If you're really doing the job right, nobody ever wants to leave. And you don't have to do it, but you really want families to leave you with tears in their eyes. They love you that much. And since we can't make people love us, all we can do is try to help them understand who we are. All right. Well, I think that's a lot for one week. Any last thoughts before we begin to wrap up?
Thank you.
It's been my pleasure. I love the fact that you guys turn on your cameras, talk. And for those of you that are eating lunch and like I was eating my smoothie that Joyce brought, it's all good. We're here to be with each other and to spend an hour and just enjoy each other. I do want to remind you that we do this every week. We record each session. All of these recordings are available on the Montessori Foundation's YouTube channel. You can see them without paying any money. We do send, well, as of today, I'm going to start sending the recordings to you myself because I'm not sure that Zoom is doing it correctly. If you're registered for the series, so even if you don't make it every week, I will send you the recording of whatever that week was. And I guess there's a Cliff Notes that Zoom produces too. So I'll try to send that out by the end of the day or tomorrow. And then we also do one of these on Thursdays called the Independent School Leadership Forum. And that is a forum that not only covers issues of recruiting and retaining and building community, we deal with all kinds of topics having to do with running a school and building strong schools, Montessori and otherwise. So we invite you, come when you can. We understand how busy we all are. And sometimes I normally follow up on the YouTube. Yeah, thank you, Pecky. I appreciate that Pecky in Tanzania has been such a good follower and friend for so many years. We appreciate you. And Becky, congratulations on completing your AMI elementary training. That's great.
Good.
There's some great work going on all over the world, my friends. So I'll declare today closed and see you hopefully on Thursday or next week.
Thank
Bye-bye,
you.
everyone.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.